So far, nearly 100 bodies recovered. There could be a lot more. Francis joins us live from Mombasa. Francis, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being with us. Why did you decide to blow the whistle, Francis? What happened?
Jeff, I first got the information of what was happening at Shakahola on 17th of March. Somebody called me and told me that something bad was happening at Shakahola Forest, where my daughter and the other family were. That it may be that already 2 of my grandchildren had already died. So they were asking for help, transport, and also some police reinforcement so that they can visit the forest to make any rescues if there were any. I did my best. I provided the transport while I was in Mombasa. I called the OCS Langopaya police station, who provided the 2 security officers. So when they reached there, they were given the 2 security officers, and they rushed to the forest, right to the house where my daughter and the other members were living. On arrival there, they found that the 3 members, that is my daughter, the husband, and their mom, who was also a member of the cult, they were holding one of the children, praying, meaning that they were preparing him to die. So that even the grave had already been dug. It was very, very, very sad. So what they did, they just went, grabbed the child, and after seeing that the policemen there, my daughter, the husband, and the mom disappeared into the thicket of the forest.
But that is Francis. Yeah, hold on. Sorry, the child was still alive.
Yes, the child was still alive. Now, after giving the child the first aid, glucose, and some other things, that now it got strength and started narrating what had happened to his siblings.
And what exactly?
And I say that
what happened? Yeah.
Pardon?
What did he say happened? What was he narrating?
He was narrating on how the siblings died, because there were 3. Okay. My daughter had 3 children, all male. So the first one to die was the last born, who was starved to death on and died on 15th of March. The second one was starved to death on the 16th of March. And the third one, who was the firstborn, was supposed to die on the 17th. Fortunately enough, he was rescued. And he narrated all the events that took place. And in fact, he said that even the parents, when they saw that the siblings were not dying as they thought, they had to ensure that they kill them by blocking the nose, their mouth, so that now they die and bury them. So it was something very sad, what my grandchild narrated.
Yeah.
Something very sad.
And your daughter and her husband, you said they escaped and they ran back into the forest. Is that what they did?
I've not seen them up to date. That was 17th of March up to date. They have not been seen. I don't know whether they're dead, or they're alive. I don't know.
And you also have a son-in-law who's in the military, right? He's in the military.
Yeah. And yes, you know, my son-in-law was a GSU officer, but he had to quit just to come to Mackenzie. My daughter was once a social work. She had to quit. Their children, in fact, the one who was rescued was 8 years old. He had not even stepped in a class. He had not been taken to a school, to a formal school. So education to them is a sin. Working is a sin. Medication is a sin. Just stay and pray God. And death is everything. They believe that if you die under such circumstances, you are a hero. You are a king.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's what happened. And that is very, very sad on my side. Losing 2 grandchildren. And in fact, I don't know where the 3 are today. I've been moving up and down, but all in vain.
Tragic story, Francis. Stand by, okay? Stand by. We'll get back to you in a little short while. Let me come to the studio. And Rosalind Asena, your story. Tell us what happened to you in your case.
In my case, my brother is the second born. I am the first born. My brother went to Mombasa to work. And he is a bodybuilder of these long buses, for example, like the Modern Coast. There is a time he worked for Modern Coast. Modern Coast could send him to Uganda, it could send him to Tanzania, and then back to Mombasa. Then after some time, he left the company and opened his own yard. It was during operating his own yard when he met the church. Now, how it started, the wife called us and said, listen, your brother, nowadays he doesn't drink alcohol. He is so good, we don't fight nowadays. And we asked her, why? Because you've been every other time complaining, there are issues. What happened? She said he was prayed for. And we asked her, by who? There is a certain church, there is a preacher who told him, if you drink alcohol again, your grave is already open, your casket is already open, you will not take 6 months from now. So you have to stop. And he prayed for him. And from that day, it is close to 3 months, my husband doesn't drink. And we don't fight, we are at peace. He brings the money and I do everything that is required, we are good. Which family would hear that of their son and say it is wrong? In fact, we celebrated. If now he has grown to that level, we say, in fact, we said that's a good church.
Did you join the church?
No.
You didn't join?
No, we did not.
Why not?
The church is in Malindi. I reside in Mukuru kwa Ruben. My family resides in Vihiga. My mom and dad, they are in Vihiga, Mazu village. So this is a communication on phone from Malindi. So now we encourage them to continue trusting in God, to continue making sure they are at peace. Then when things started going wrong, it is the same wife to my brother who raised an alarm and said, where we have reached, I think I'm going to drop going to this church. And we asked why. Because now we are told we should not go to hospital and children should not go to school. In fact, when I've been pregnant, it has been a struggle going to the clinic. In fact, I did not go to give birth in hospital. That was the third born. And we told her, now that one is dangerous. You need to leave that church. And at some point, there was that commotion within their setup in the family, and now the wife came back home. She told my parents. She also talked to me as the in-law. I'm the firstborn, as I said, and I gave my advice. And my parents also gave their advice, and she went to their people where she was born. Those parents also sat them down, and my brother followed her. And he went and said, I don't think I'm going back to that church. If I am supposed to live my family to drop it because of that church, I will drop the church. I better carry my family. Please forgive me, I will not go there. Then they went back to Mombasa. Come 2020, when COVID-19 is now on the rise, now the president says schools have been closed, COVID is in Kenya. And now my brother was at home, and he claps his hands and says, you see, this is the right time for everybody in the whole world to know that Jesus has come. This is the time when everybody should know Jesus is supposed to take everybody. Can you now go back to school? Now, you wanted to go to university? You go. You wanted to go to Makerere? You go. Can all of you start going to school? And we kept quiet because now the schools have closed abruptly.
Yeah.
And come schools open now 2021. It was 2021.
21, yeah.
He's at home. He has now come also back at home. And he says he has the children, and the wife says he doesn't go to work.
Has he left the cult then, or is he still part?
He's still there. He says he can't go to work because working is demonic. His children can't go to school because schools are satanic. They can't go to hospital, everything. And now that is when the whole family wakes up and says, not here. If children cannot go to school, take them back to Malindi, to Mombasa where you stay. Maybe that's a different Kenya. But here, no. In fact, I had to use a local media who went at home just to find. We wanted to find out what exactly is happening. And he started preaching. He preached every other thing that is kind of weird.
This is your brother now?
This is my brother.
Now, is he very close to Mackenzie?
My brother, I cannot tell if he is close or not. You see where I stay. Can you see the distance? In fact, I can just tell you openly, I've never visited them in Mombasa. So but they've been visiting me here in Nairobi.
But you saw him in court with Mackenzie?
Yes.
First time on TV?
The first time on TV, I saw him. It was on 17th of this month. And I see what is happening. In fact, I was not alive to the fact that there are things that are happening in Malindi or in Mackenzie's church.
And you can see the picture right there. That's him there in the court. That's the picture you were seeing on Citizen.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the picture I saw.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this my brother? And I decided, okay, let me take a snapshot, send to my sister, send to other relatives to confirm. And they said, oh, he is the one. And is that Mackenzie? And we said, yes, he's the one. And we said, okay. So the story is people are dying, people are dead, others are being killed. Who is killing these people? What is happening? And we wondered, where did my brother, where was he arrested from? Was it arrested from the house? Was he arrested from the forest? Was he arrested from the fields? Yeah. I don't know.
So he's still in custody as far as you're concerned?
Exactly.
With Mackenzie?
Yes.
And the children, you don't know where they are?
The children, we don't know where they are.
How many of them?
There are 5 children.
All missing? Or all
missing. Ages between, the last born is around 1.5, not yet 2 years. The firstborn is around 16 years. All of them, we can't locate them.
And where is his wife?
The wife is at Malindi Hospital.
Okay.
Unless she has been discharged by now, I'm not aware, but we knew she was in hospital. She was also rescued from the forest and then taken to the hospital. Yes. Yes.
Dr. Susan Gitau, let me ask you this. I mean, this is heartbreaking. This is tear-jerking. How do people like this recover?
They do recover. First, there has to be the will. But from the word go, it's good for the person to know what's happening to them. So bringing them to the awareness of what's going on. Just like that child might recover faster, the one who is narrating all the stories and what happened. Because what happened in such a traumatic situation is that, like the people who've gotten to know about it, because the people who are dying, the first way to weaken them was to make them fast.
Yeah.
And so they became weak. And when you become weak, when you don't feed, you don't drink, of course your brain also becomes weak. And so for the brain to function, it's very difficult at that time. And that's why one of the ladies that was rescued was even saying, don't even try to help me. I think I'm better off gone.
Yes.
So that traumatic incident, the first thing is that it's very horrifying, just like the way we are listening, and even the people who are rescuing them. The second thing is that they get hyper-aroused for the people who are victims, the survivors, and the family members, and even the people who are rescuing them. And what happens when they get hyper-aroused? A lot of stress chemicals are released in the body. And they are very bad also to the brain and to every organ in the body. But I want to focus on the thinking part of the brain. It is highly disfigured in a traumatic incident. And so you expect people to think right, they can't. You expect them to solve very simple problems, they cannot. And worse, if this situation continues without intervention, which should have happened within 72 hours, what we call psychological first aid. And I believe, I don't know, I'm yet to hear what has been happening because there is no communication from the mental health coordination point of view. Yeah. If people are not helped within 72 hours, then they are likely to develop serious psychological distress.
What about a kid who's a year and a half, doctor? 1.5 year old. Who starves a 1.5 year old?
Now, these are the people you cannot tell. Now, I was even listening to the case of the brother.
Yes.
Remember, the brother came from serious alcohol addiction, right?
Yeah.
And maybe other drug addictions, we don't know. Yeah. So it means even before he had an existing problem. Now he quits this addiction and he gets into another addiction, which is religion and false religion. Yeah. All these people, if we had a story from them, you would get to know each one of them had some form of emptiness. Whether it is emptiness of an existing mental illness, an existing serious psychosocial issue they were struggling with, especially with COVID-19 pandemic, or you had a disturbed childhood where you had childhood trauma that was never processed. And as an adult, then when you are in a very serious, stressful situation, then you're very weak. Because when you listen to the brother, I'm sure the wife followed the brother because it's like, wow, this guy was worse, fighting me and drinking all the money. Now, this church must be a church that is very powerful. But listen, these people who spread false doctrines, they're very powerful and very forceful.
And very convincing.
So now, the case of the brother, most of the people who get addicted to drugs and alcohol, most of them have a personality challenge we call OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Like you're obsessed to doing something, you feel compelled to do it.
Right.
So they always respond automatically, what we call automatic obedience. So this pastor says this person has no other way of responding. It's yes.
Stand by, Dr. Hari, stand by. I want to hear more about that. Let's go to Betty in Malindi. Betty Kahende, if you can hear me, Betty, thanks so much for joining us. What is your, you lost what, 7 family members?
Yes.
Tell us.
I've lost my sister and her children, 6 children. Those are 7, and her first daughter was pregnant. Yeah.
Betty, were you
With
a part?
grandchild.
Were you a part of this cult as well?
At first.
Tell us how you joined them, why you joined them.
Sorry?
How did you join this cult?
Okay, for me, the church started at our house. So after that, when it...
Unaweza ongea na Kiswahili ukitaka, Betty, endelea tu.
Okay. when it continues, then after that they Kiswahili sawa. Okay.
Endelea tu.
Okay, kanisa ya haya. Kanisa ilianzia pale kwetu. So hapo ndio tulianza, nilijuana na Mackenzie pamoja na dadangu na bwanake. After hapo sasa iliendelea tu vizuri. But then wakaja wakaondoka, wakashifti kwa place nyingine. So after hapo alikuja tu akaanza tu kusema, alianza na watu wasishuke nywele, rastas na wigs. Kushuka rastas na wig ni dhambi. Hiyo ndio time nilitoka hiyo church, mimi na mdogo wangu. Tukaacha sistangu na shemegi yangu akiendelea pamoja na watoto wake. After that akaanza kusema watu wasiende mahospitalini. After that akatoa watoto shule, akaanza kusema shule ni dhambi. So sistangu akatoa watoto wake shule wote. So mimi after hiyo mimi kuonana na sistangu ilikuwa mwaka jana mwezi wa 6. Hapo ndio sistangu alikuja kwangu akiwa na bwanake na akasema wanaenda Shakahola, huko ndio wanaenda kukutana na Yesu. So nisahau kabisa story yake, akishaenda nisahau. Niwaambie kaka zangu na dada zangu kwa yeye venye ameenda ndio ni basi. Mpaka siku ile tutakutana mbinguni.
No. Na sasa unajuaje walipotea huko kwa hiyo msitu?
Walikuwa huko, cause huko ndio walienda. Na huko ndio walikuwa wanaishi na watoto wake wote. So bwanake tu ndo alikuwa akija, unamuona Malindi amekuja kununua chakula akirudi huko. So alikuwa huko.
So walikuwa wakikula huko, sio?
Huo wakati huo nyuma walikuwa wakikula. But kuna wakati kuna kakangu aliwatembelea, akapata walikuwa wamedhoofika sana, wanasema wanafunga asubuhi mpaka next asubuhi. Yani wakila saa asubuhi awali tena mpaka kesho asubuhi.
Na unajuaje wameaga?
Yeah. Cause hao ndio walikuwa kipaumbele kwa, yani bwanake na sistangu walikuwa wanachindiwa Mackenzie. Na hao watoto walianza na watoto, cause walisema wanaanza na watoto alafu waje wa mama, then wa baba, alafu huyo pasta baadaye. So hao watoto wa dadangu, hao watoto ndio walianza nao. So mimi sina, hiyo ndio tulijua waliangamia.
Na wazazi wenyu wako wapi?
Sorry?
Baba na mama wako wapi?
Baba na mama wako shambani.
Wanajua hii mambo, ushawajulisha?
Nimewajulisha.
Na wanasemaje?
Mama hata hakuwa na mengi ya kusema, alisema tu tuhakikishe kama wako niyo mili watapatikana hapo.
Na hiyo kanisa ya huyo Mackenzie mulijoinaje?
Kanisa la Mackenzie lilianza kwetu nyumbani.
Wapi yuko?
Tulikuwa tuna Kismondogo Malindi.
Yuko Kilifi?
So Malindi Kismondogo.
Endelea.
Yeah, so hapo ndo ilianzia. Tulikuwa tunaenda kanisa moja, mimi, mamangu na babangu. Ilikuwa inaitwa Baptist hapa Malindi.
Na ilikuwa ya huyo
marehemu Morris Wanje.
Ilikuwa ya Mackenzie ama?
Sorry?
Ilikuwa ya Mackenzie?
Hiyo tukienda ilikuwa ya Pastor Morris Wanje. Sasa ni marehemu.
Aha.
So
endelea.
Na vurugu hapo, walitoka hapo ndio akaanzisha, ndio yeye na mamangu wakaanzisha hiyo Good News. Mamangu akampatia hiyo nafasi hapo kwetu.
Mamako akapatia Mackenzie nafasi?
So the first son. Mamangu alipatia nafasi Mackenzie hapo kwetu. Aanze hiyo kanisa hapo.
Aha. Na Mackenzie.
But hiyo first Sunday mamangu na babangu.
Pole. Na huyo Mackenzie alikuwa mtu wa aina gani?
Wakati huo Mackenzie alikuwa mtu mzuri. Kwa alianza tu vizuri kanisa na tukaendelea tu vizuri. Mpaka wakati sasa alipokuja kuondolewa pale kwetu, alipohamia Furunzi, ndio akaanza hayo mambo.
Unakumbuka ni mwaka gani?
Kutolewa hapo kwetu. Sikumbuki.
Okay, sawa. Na sasa ulisema alikuwa mtu mzuri hapo mwanzoni, sio?
Ndio.
Alibadilikaje?
Sasa kutoka hapo kwetu alipoenda kujenga kanisa Furunzi, bado tulikuwa tunashiriki hapo. But alikuja tu kukaanza kutoka unabii kwa kanisa. Watu wanatoa unabii, kusonga ni dhambi, kusonga rasta yani ni za mashetani. Ndio akaanza hayo mafundisho. Alikuja tu, kuna Sunday moja nakumbuka, hiyo Sunday ndio ilikuwa Sunday yangu ya mwisho. Alikuja akatusimamisha. Watu wote wenye walikuwa wana wigs na rasta wote wakapelekwa mbele. Ndio tukaambiwa hizi vitu ni za shetani, na kama mwenye anataka kubaki kwa hii kanisa asiwe akishuka tena hizo vitu, asonge tu natural hair. Kama hutaki uende kabisa. Na hiyo ndio siku nilitoka mimi na sister yangu mdogo.
Alikuwa anawaitisha vitu zingine kama pesa au vitu zingine?
Wakati huo ilikuwa tu pesa zenye alikuwa ni sadaka tu ya kawaida na tithe. Na hizo mchango za kujenga kanisa.
Na yeye alikuwa tajiri saa hiyo?
Sorry?
Alikuwa tajiri, alikuwa ametajirika?
Wakati huo hakuwa tajiri because nikimjua Mackenzie mimi alikuwa taxi driver. So hakuwa tajiri because alikuwa tu amekodisha nyumba huku Central Town.
Okay. Na hiyo shamba ya eka 800 alitoa wapi?
Sasa ndo after hawa walipotoka huku, walipoachisha watoto shule, walisema tu Mackenzie amenunua shamba na tunaenda kukaa huko sote. Hivyo tu, lakini sijui alilipataje ama ilikuwaje.
Na wewe ushaenda kwa hiyo shamba, ushawatembelea huko?
Mimi sijaenda.
Ujaenda Shakahola?
Bado.
Na unaona mtu kama huyo Mackenzie anaweza ua watu hao wote vile unaona?
Anaweza. Kwa sababu alitoa watoto wengi shule sana 2019. Nao watoto wote alitoa shule, hakuna hata mtoto mmoja alirudi shule.
Okay. Betty Kaindi, subiri kidogo, tutachukua break kidogo. Dr. Gitao and Rosalind, we're going to take a quick break, come back, talk some more. This is harrowing stuff. This is deep. It's going to take a while to get over this. What do you think? Let's hear your thoughts. At Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JKLIVE. JKLIVE takes a break.